Since opening its first store outside of Texas in 2019, Buc-ee's has been expanding rapidly into new states, cities, and markets, creating what is quickly becoming a national presence. This is quite remarkable, considering they have only 60 stores. A significant factor in their growth is the immense size of their locations. With over 70,000 square feet of retail space, 120 fuel pumps, and some EV chargers, typically situated on a 20 to 25-acre parcel, it's clear that only a limited number of such large facilities can be built in any given state. The first Buc-ee's location outside of Texas was established in Alabama in 2019. Since then, Buc-ee's has expanded impressively to 11 states, with more on the way. You can now find Buc-ee's in Florida, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Kentucky, covering much of the southern United States, with a few notable exceptions. Before discussing the states that have been skipped, it's important to acknowledge that Buc-ee's has primarily been a southern chain up to this point. While it does have a few locations beyond what might traditionally be considered the South, such as in Colorado and Missouri, it has remained largely centered in the South, particularly the Deep South, since its inception. Part of its appeal is that it's akin to the Walmart or Disney World of gas stations. Additionally, Buc-ee's taps into a deep sense of Southern nostalgia with its offerings of old-fashioned food like homemade barbecue, pecan clusters, fudge, and the uniquely Texan love for kolaches. When you step into a Buc-ee's, you experience a taste of this nostalgia. That's why it's so unusual that Buc-ee's has bypassed these 3 states until now. However, beginning a week from today, that starts to change. Finally, back in 2019, it must have been quite a blow when Buc-ee's decided to bypass Mississippi and set up shop in Alabama instead. Over the past 6 years, this decision has likely been a lingering disappointment. However, on June 9th, Mississippi will celebrate the long-awaited opening of its very first Buc-ee's location. Buc-ee's is set to open at 8245 Fire Tower Road in Pass Christian, Mississippi. Louisiana is another key location in the I-10 corridor, where Buc-ee's has laid out plans for expansion, stretching from Texas to Florida. While the timeline may be a bit delayed, with no openings expected in the immediate future, it's intriguing to note that Louisiana, despite being larger than Mississippi, has a unique cultural flavor due to its strong Cajun influences. This might explain why Buc-ee's initially passed over the state, but it seems they are now ready to address this oversight. Buc-ee's is set to open a new travel center near Lafayette, Louisiana, conveniently located right off I-10. The current timeline suggests a grand opening in December 2025, though this could change as construction timelines often do. With a project of this size, delays are not uncommon, and sometimes local residents are less than enthusiastic about the new development. Interestingly, Louisiana's second Buc-ee's is on track to compete with the Lafayette location for its opening date, facing similar construction delays, although there's no opposition to its arrival. Louisiana is set to welcome its second Buc-ee's location in Ruston, situated in the northern part of the state, just off Interstate 20. For those who may not know, I-20 is a significant east-west route stretching across the South. It begins in Columbia, South Carolina, and passes through major cities such as Atlanta, Birmingham, Jackson, Shreveport, and Dallas, before veering south to eventually merge with I-10 in western Texas. Construction of the Ruston Buc-ee's began in 2023, with an original completion target of approximately 15 months. However, due to some delays, the opening is now anticipated for late 2025 or possibly early 2026. We'll have to wait and see whether Lafayette or Ruston will open their Buc-ee's first. Our third skipped southern state is Arkansas. While it might not seem as obvious a choice for Buc-ee's as Louisiana and Mississippi, it might still be a bit surprising that Tennessee and Kentucky got their Buc-ee's locations first, not to mention Colorado. However, a couple of months ago, Buc-ee's began construction on its first Arkansas location near Benton. Although it likely won't be ready until sometime in 2026, it's reassuring to know that it's on the horizon. There you have it. 3 states that have been eagerly awaiting a Buc-ee's location and are finally going to have one. It's great news, especially since many other states are also on the verge of welcoming their first Buc-ee's. This naturally leads to the big question: where should Buc-ee's build their next location? And why does Buc-ee's keep skipping Oklahoma? If you enjoyed this, subscribe to The Coconut Mama on YouTube at youtube.com/@thecoconutmama for more.